In the heart of the rugged landscape, where the mountains kissed the sky and the rivers ran wild, lived a Modoc warrior named tamed. He was known far and wide for his bravery and strength. Tamed had spent his life fighting for his people, defending their territory and traditions against those who sought to take them away. His spirit was fierce, like the winds that howled across the plains, and his heart was as strong as the ancient oaks that dotted the land. Before the fateful encounter that would change everything, Tamed lived a life of purpose and duty. Each dawn, he would train tirelessly with his fellow warriors, honing his skills in archery and hand-to-hand combat. His muscles were defined from years of hard work, and his agility was unmatched. The tribe looked up to him not only for his fighting prowess but also for his wisdom. He carried the stories of their ancestors in his heart, sharing them around the fire, keeping their history alive. Yet, despite all of this, there was a sense of loneliness that clung to him like mist in the early morning. Tamed valued honor above all else. He believed in protecting his people and their way of life. The Modoc tribe had faced many challenges over the years, from harsh winters to encroaching settlers who did not understand their bond with the land. Tamed felt a deep responsibility to ensure that the traditions of his ancestors were preserved and that future generations would know their strength and resilience. His bravery was more than just a shield against enemies, it was a beacon of hope for his people. Despite his fierce exterior, Tamed possessed a gentle spirit. He often wandered through the forests alone, finding solace in nature. The rustle of leaves and the call of distant birds brought him peace as he reflected on his life and dreams. He watched over children playing near the riverbanks, laughing and chasing each other, and felt a longing for a family of his own. However, he pushed these thoughts aside, telling himself that his duty to the tribe came first. As time passed, whispers of trouble reached their ears, rumors of sickness spreading through nearby settlements. Tamed's heart raced at the thought of his people suffering. He felt a pull to help those in need, even beyond the borders of their land. This desire for compassion battled with the warrior's instincts that told him to remain vigilant and ready for combat. One fateful day, Tamed received word about a widowed doctor who had come to their territory seeking help for her patients. Though he had never met her, tales of her dedication to healing traveled fast among tribes. She was said to be remarkable, brave in her own right, but now faced danger herself due to an unforeseen illness spreading through her small clinic. This news ignited something within Tamed. The thought of someone risking everything to heal others stirred a sense of admiration in him. He pondered how she might be just as courageous as any warrior on the battlefield. Determined to assist her, he prepared himself for a journey into uncharted territory. Little did he know that this decision would lead him down a path filled with unexpected challenges and life-altering connections. With his bow slung over his shoulder and resolve etched on his face, Tamed set out into the unknown. He walked with purpose, unaware that fate had intertwined their lives in ways he could never have imagined. As he ventured closer to where she worked, he felt an electric charge in the air, the anticipation of meeting someone who might change everything about what he thought he knew about bravery and healing. As Tamed journeyed through the rugged terrain, his thoughts drifted to the widowed doctor he had heard about. Her name was Dr. Ilara, and she had dedicated her life to healing others, even as she faced her own battles. After losing her husband to a tragic accident, Ilara found herself alone in a world that felt increasingly heavy. The weight of grief lingered over her like a dark cloud, but she refused to let it define her. Ilara had always been passionate about medicine. From a young age, she watched her father treat the sick in their small town and quickly realized the power of healing. She pursued her studies with zeal, eventually becoming a doctor known for her skill and compassion. However, after her husband's death, the joy she once found in helping others began to fade. Every patient she treated reminded her of the love she had lost, and each passing day felt like a reminder of her solitude. Despite her grief, Ilara continued to work tirelessly at her small clinic. It was a modest building filled with shelves of herbs and supplies, where she welcomed anyone in need. She would often stay up late into the night, tending to patients who came from far and wide. Her hands were gentle but steady as she treated wounds and offered comfort. The townsfolk admired her not only for her medical expertise but also for the warmth she brought to their lives. However, as whispers of illness spread through the community, Ilara found herself overwhelmed. The sickness was relentless, claiming lives and leaving families shattered. Each day brought more patients than she could handle, and despite her dedication, there were moments when despair crept in. She would sit alone in her clinic after everyone left, staring at the empty chairs that once held her husband's laughter. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Ilara felt an unusual weakness wash over her. It started as fatigue but quickly turned into a fever that left her shivering under blankets. Her body fought against the illness that seemed to mock her commitment to healing others. She realized that if she didn't take care of herself, there would be no one left to help those who relied on her. Yet even in her weakened state, Ilara pushed forward. She recalled her husband's encouraging words, "Life is a gift to be shared." Those words fueled her determination to keep going. With every ounce of strength she could muster, she continued treating patients and spreading hope. "If I can help just one person today," she told herself, "then it is worth it." Her nights were restless as she battled both illness and sorrow. Dreams of happier times with her husband haunted her sleep while visions of patients needing care filled her waking hours. Despite this internal struggle, Ilara never lost sight of what truly mattered, saving lives and providing comfort to those in pain. As word of the spreading illness reached Tayanita, he felt compelled to act. Little did he know that their fates were intertwined in ways yet to be revealed. Ilara's courage and resilience echoed in his heart as he made his way through the wilderness toward the small clinic that stood at the center of so many lives, both those who needed care and those who offered it. With determination etched on his face and hope stirring within him, Tayanita approached the clinic. He sensed that inside was not only a doctor fighting against adversity but also a woman who embodied strength in vulnerability, a person whose spirit might just change his own life forever. As Tayanita approached the small clinic nestled against the backdrop of towering mountains, he felt a mix of anticipation and concern. The air was thick with tension, as news of the illness had spread like wildfire. He could feel the urgency in his chest, propelling him forward with each determined step. Meanwhile, inside the clinic, Dr. Ilara worked feverishly, her hands trembling slightly as she prepared herbal remedies for her patients. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the room. Despite her exhaustion, she maintained a focused determination to help everyone who came through her door. However, a sudden knock at the clinic door startled her, pulling her from her thoughts. "Come in," she called out, hoping for new supplies or perhaps a friendly face. But what she found was far from expected. Tayanita entered cautiously, his presence imposing yet filled with an undeniable warmth. He introduced himself and quickly explained his purpose. He had come to help her. Before they could exchange further pleasantries, a scream shattered the calm of the clinic. Ilara's heart raced as she rushed toward the sound. Outside, chaos erupted, villagers were running in all directions, panic written on their faces. Tayanita instinctively grabbed Ilara's arm to guide her outside. As they stepped through the door, they were met with a terrifying sight. A pack of wild wolves had descended upon the village, drawn by desperation and hunger. The animals were fierce and agitated, threatening anyone who dared to approach. "Stay close," Tayanita instructed Ilara as he quickly scanned the scene for anything that could be used as a weapon. His warrior instincts kicked in, he needed to protect her and the villagers at all costs. Ilara's mind raced with fear for her patient still inside the clinic. "We must get everyone to safety," she urged, but Tayanita shook his head. "We can't move yet, not with them so close," he said firmly. Instead of retreating, he took a defensive stance between Ilara and the approaching wolves. As the first wolf lunged toward them with a menacing growl, Tayanita reacted swiftly. He drew his bowstring taut and let an arrow fly, striking true and forcing the creature to retreat momentarily. The sound of it hitting its target echoed in Ilara's ears, sending chills down her spine. She had never seen such raw power before. Tayanita's resolve only grew stronger as more wolves advanced. With each arrow released from his bow, he created an opening for the villagers to escape toward safer ground. Ilara watched him fight not just for himself but for everyone around them. His dedication and bravery ignited something within her, a spark of hope in a moment of desperation. "Help me," she shouted suddenly as she spotted an injured villager struggling on the ground just outside the clinic's door. Without thinking twice, Ilara dashed toward him even as Tayanita continued to fend off the ferocious animals. "Stay back," he called out urgently while shooting another arrow into the chaos. Ilara reached the villager just in time to lift him up and support his weight as they stumbled together back toward safety. Just then, one of the wolves broke free from Tayanita's distraction and charged at them with terrifying speed. In that instant, Tayanita turned too late to stop it. Adrenaline surged through him as he launched himself toward Ilara, determined to shield her from harm. With a powerful shove, he pushed both Ilara and the injured man aside just as teeth snapped dangerously close to them. The collision sent them tumbling into a nearby tree just moments before Tayanita faced down the wolf head-on. With fierce determination etched on his face and strength drawn from every ounce of honor he possessed, he confronted this new threat, one that could change everything for both him and Ilara. In this whirlwind moment of danger and defiance, their lives had intertwined irrevocably, a connection forged in chaos amidst a life-or-death struggle that neither could have anticipated. In the aftermath of the wolf attack, the air was still charged with tension, leaving everyone on edge. Tayanita's bravery had saved many lives, but as he surveyed the scene, he noticed something alarming. Ilara had grown increasingly pale, and her movements were slow. The adrenaline of the moment cast a veil over his concern, but as she swayed slightly against the tree, he felt a pang of fear. "Dr. Ilara," he called out, rushing to her side. The chaos around them faded as he focused on her. "Are you all right?" I'm fine," she replied, though her voice was shaky. Tayanita could see through the bravado. There was something seriously wrong. Just then, her knees buckled beneath her. Without hesitation, Tayanita caught her before she hit the ground. "Ilara!" He cradled her in his arms, feeling the heat radiating from her body. A surge of desperation coursed through him. He had protected her from wolves, but now a more insidious danger threatened her life, the illness that had been spreading through the village. "Stay with me," he urged gently as he began to assess her condition. Her forehead was hot against his hand, and her breathing came in shallow gasps. "We need to get you help." Ilara blinked slowly, struggling to focus on Tayanita's face. "The clinic, always herbal remedies, just need time," she mumbled. Determined not to waste a moment, Tayanita lifted her effortlessly into his arms and headed toward the clinic. The villagers watched in silent awe as the warrior carried their healer back into the very place she'd fought so hard for their well-being. Inside the clinic, Tayanita laid Ilara down gently on an examination table cluttered with herbs and medical supplies. He quickly took stock of what she had available. The once busy space felt heavy with silence as he sifted through various herbs and potions that could aid in her recovery. "Ilara," he started, looking directly into her eyes, "you must trust me. I will do everything I can to make you well again." With a weak nod, she closed her eyes briefly, allowing herself to relax, for just a moment, under his unwavering presence. While Tayanita felt unsure about medicine and healing, he was resolute in his commitment to protect and save her life. He recalled hearing tales from wise elders about natural remedies that could relieve fever and restore strength, things he had never applied himself but now needed to remember. Quickly, he mixed together mint leaves known for their cooling properties, elderflower for its ability to boost immunity, and honey for sweetness and nourishment. As he worked diligently, he spoke softly to Ilara about his tribe's traditions and the importance of community, how they always banded together during moments of crisis and rejoiced during times of healing. Her gentle breaths eased slightly with each passing moment as she listened. "Just a little longer," he urged as he carefully brought a steaming cup of herbal tea to her lips. "Drink this, it will help." With trembling hands, Ilara sipped from the cup he offered. The warmth spread through her body, bringing with it a flicker of vitality she thought lost forever. She opened her eyes fully now, a hint of gratitude mingled with lingering exhaustion showed in her gaze. Tayanita's heart swelled with hope at seeing even this small response. For each minute that passed where she did not slip back into unconsciousness felt like victorious progress against encroaching darkness. But Ilara needed more than just herbs, she required rest and care, the very things she often provided for others yet struggled to accept for herself. As night settled outside and stars twinkled overhead, Tayanita pledged to stay by her side. His duty as a warrior stretched beyond protection. He would fight tirelessly for this incredible woman who held so much courage within despite moments of fragility. In that dimly lit room filled with memories of healing and hardship alike, their connection deepened through shared vulnerability, a bond forged in courage beneath circumstances neither had anticipated but both were determined to face together. As the night deepened and the stars twinkled like distant campfires in the sky, Tayanita remained at Ilara's side, watching over her as she rested. The clinic was quiet, except for the soft sounds of her breathing and the gentle rustle of leaves outside. The warmth from the herbal tea still lingered in her body, but it was clear that she needed more than just physical healing, she needed companionship and understanding. During those long hours, Tayanita found himself reflecting on their earlier encounter. He had been a protector all his life, focused on battles and valor, yet sitting there beside Ilara, he discovered a different kind of strength in vulnerability. He watched as she stirred slightly, a frown creasing her forehead. Instinctively, he reached out to smooth her brow, an action that surprised even him. "Ilara," he whispered softly, "you are strong. You will overcome this." She opened her eyes slowly, catching his gaze. "Am I?" she replied with a hint of skepticism. The weariness in her voice tugged at his heart. "Yes," he assured her, feeling a connection grow between them, a bond forged through shared trials. "You saved many lives today with your courage. You must believe in your strength." Ilara smiled faintly at his words, grateful for his support. "And you saved mine," she replied softly. "I don't know how I would have gotten through today without you." Their conversation flowed easily after that, breaking down barriers that had separated their worlds. Tayanita shared stories about his tribe, their customs, festivals, and the values they held dear. He spoke of the time-honored traditions passed down through generations that celebrated life and resilience. In turn, Ilara opened up about her journey as a doctor and the challenges she faced after losing her husband. She described how grief had become a companion in her daily life, often dampening her spirit but also pushing her to fight harder for others. "I thought I could only find healing by helping others," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "But sometimes I forget that I need healing too." Tayanita listened intently, recognizing the weight of her words as if they echoed his own feelings of loneliness and isolation. "We all carry burdens," he replied gently. "It is not a sign of weakness to seek help or to lean on others." In that moment, Ilara felt understood, truly seen for the first time since her husband's death. She realized that Tayanita was not just a warrior, he was someone who cared deeply about those around him. This realization sparked something within her, a flicker of hope mingled with warmth that began to fill the hollow spaces inside. As dawn approached, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, Tayanita prepared another herbal concoction while Ilara watched with growing interest. "You have a talent for this," she remarked with a smile. "It is nothing compared to what you do," he replied humbly, feeling the warmth of admiration for her skill and dedication. "But perhaps we can learn from each other." Their laughter broke the tension that had filled the room only hours before, creating a sense of camaraderie that neither expected. They exchanged recipes for remedies. Tayanita's knowledge of local plants complemented Ilara's understanding of medicinal properties. With each passing moment spent together, they discovered common ground, an understanding that transcended their different backgrounds and experiences. Tayanita began to see Ilara not just as a doctor who needed saving but as an equal partner in resilience. As sunlight streamed through the clinic window, illuminating their faces, it became clear that this unexpected connection was blossoming into something beautiful, a friendship rooted in mutual respect and shared courage. Both feeling lighter than they had in days, Ilara's eyes sparkled with renewed hope while Tayanita felt a warmth growing within him, a sense of belonging he had long sought but never expected to find in a woman who had once been a stranger among them. Together they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, ready to support each other along their journeys toward healing and understanding. As Tayanita and Ilara spent more time together in the clinic, the quiet moments transformed into opportunities for profound understanding and growth. Each day, Tayanita watched Ilara as she tended to her patients with unparalleled compassion. He observed the way she spoke gently to them, her soft voice providing not just medical advice but also comfort during their times of distress. It struck him deeply, her ability to heal extended beyond mere remedies and treatments. One afternoon, as they prepared herbal concoctions together, Tayanita noticed Ilara mixing ingredients with an artistic grace. "You have a special touch," he remarked, watching her expertly blend herbs across the table. Ilara smiled at his compliment but shrugged it off. "It's not just about the herbs," she responded thoughtfully. "It's about listening to the person in front of you, understanding what they feel. Healing often starts with compassion." Tayanita paused for a moment to reflect on her words. He had always been focused on physical strength and bravery, attributes revered in his warrior lifestyle. But Ilara's insight opened a new perspective in him. He realized that strength could also be found in gentleness and empathy. The following day, a group of villagers came to the clinic seeking help for various ailments. Tayanita stood by Ilara's side, ready to assist however he could. As she examined each person and offered tailored advice, he witnessed firsthand how her kindness brought relief and hope to those who felt lost. "Your patience is remarkable," Tayanita said as they finished with one particularly anxious patient who had initially walked in trembling with fear. "You ease their minds before you even treat their bodies." Ilara looked at him knowingly. "We fight battles every day, even if they aren't visible to everyone else." She gestured outside to where children played under the sun. "Sometimes, it takes more than strength to win those battles." With each passing encounter inside the clinic, Tayanita began to see the transformative power of compassion not only within Ilara but also within himself. He started applying her lessons when interacting with those around him, softening his words, showing understanding when faced with frustration or anger from villagers who were overwhelmed by fear of illness. On one occasion, an elderly man entered looking distraught as he spoke about his ill wife. The desperation in his voice pulled at Tayanita's heartstrings. Instead of responding with bravado or assertiveness, like he usually would have done as a warrior addressing a situation head-on, Tayanita tapped into the wisdom he had learned from Ilara. "Tell me about your wife," he urged gently, kneeling down so they were eye to eye. The man hesitated but gradually opened up about his fears, describing how helpless he felt watching someone he loved suffer. Tayanita listened intently without interruption, allowing space for the man's emotions to flow freely. Afterward, Tayanita looked into his eyes and assured him that they would work together to find help, together they would face this challenge head-on. In that moment, he realized that true courage didn't just mean fighting against threats, it meant confronting vulnerability with compassion for others. Days turned into weeks, and Tayanita began feeling a subtle yet powerful shift within himself, an evolution in his understanding of life and healing. No longer did he see himself solely as a protector through physical might, he began embracing emotional resilience as well, the idea that every warrior must also be capable of nurturing hearts alongside healing hands. Ilara's influence reshaped his worldview. He now understood that wounds could be attended to both physically and emotionally through acts of kindness and genuine connection, a lesson not typically spoken of among warriors but one that resonated deeply within him. Together in their shared journey toward healing, both personally and within their community, Tayanita became not only Ilara's protector but also her partner in compassion, committed to spreading light as they faced whatever challenges life would throw their way next. As Ilara and Tayanita continued their partnership in the clinic, they began to share stories about their respective cultures, revealing the rich tapestries that shaped their identities. Their conversations became an exchange of heritage, with each learning from the other's lived experiences and traditions. One afternoon, while reorganizing supplies in the clinic, Ilara asked, "Tayanita, what are some of the customs that are important in your tribe?" Tayanita paused and leaned against the wall, contemplating her question. "In my culture, we celebrate the changing seasons with ceremonies that honor the earth and our ancestors. The spring festival is particularly significant, it is a time for renewal and gratitude." Ilara's interest piqued. "What does the celebration look like?" she inquired, her eyes wide with curiosity. "It is filled with dance and song," he explained, a smile breaking across his face. "We gather around a great fire, sharing stories of bravery and honor passed down through generations. It strengthens our bond as a community." Ilara nodded thoughtfully. "That sounds beautiful. We also have celebrations, but they often revolve around healing and remembrance, especially for those who have passed. We believe that honoring them keeps their spirits alive in our hearts. Her voice softened as she spoke, reflecting the weight of her past. As days turned into weeks, these cultural exchanges enriched their connection. Tayanita learned about Ilara's upbringing and training in medicine, how she had followed in her father's footsteps to bring healing to those in need. She described her long hours spent studying herbs and anatomy, always driven by a desire to help others. "I respect that deeply," Tayanita said one evening while preparing medicine together. "You've dedicated your life to saving others. In my world, helping others is also important, but often it's framed within the context of battle, the fight to protect our land." Ilara considered this. It's fascinating how different our roles are, yet how similar our desires can be, to protect and nurture. One evening, as they sat outside the clinic under a blanket of stars, Tayanita shared a story from his youth about a significant battle he once fought to protect his tribe's territory. His recollection painted vivid images of valor and loyalty, but also of loss and sorrow. "I thought victory meant everything," he said softly, gazing into the flickering campfire they had built nearby. "But it taught me that protecting land is not just about fighting, it's also about nurturing relationships and fostering peace." Ilara listened intently, absorbing every word. "I never imagined that bravery could take so many forms," she replied thoughtfully. "The courage you showed on the battlefield mirrors the courage it takes for me to face my own fears, the fear of not being enough or losing those I love." Their differences in perspective sparked insightful discussions that helped both understand life's complexities. Tayanita began to appreciate how emotional resilience played a role in healing, while Ilara saw how strength could encompass both physical might and vulnerability. In return, Ilara began to embrace aspects of Tayanita's culture that resonated with her spirit, particularly the emphasis on community connection and respect for nature. "Do you think your tribe would welcome someone like me?" Ilara asked playfully one day while preparing remedies. "Of course," Tayanita chuckled. "You would be respected as a healer among warriors. Your compassion would speak volumes. And perhaps your tribe could teach me about celebrating life in ways I haven't considered," Ilara suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement at the idea. With each shared experience and cultural detail exchanged between them, barriers slowly dissolved, replaced by connections that transcended their individual backgrounds. Through storytelling and openness, Ilara and Tayanita built a strong foundation of mutual respect and understanding. As they blended their worlds together within the walls of the clinic, they became more than just allies in healing, they became two souls learning from one another, a Modoc warrior embracing empathy and a doctor finding strength in connection. Together they forged a unique path toward healing, not just for themselves but for all those around them, a testament to how love and friendship can cross cultural lines to create something truly transformative. As Tayanita continued to immerse himself in the daily routines of the clinic, he found himself increasingly inspired by Ilara's dedication to her patients. Each day, he observed her as she tended to the sick and injured, blending her medical expertise with genuine compassion. The way she listened to their fears and offered comfort left a lasting impression on him. Tayanita began to realize that healing was more than just a physical act, it was a bond formed through trust and understanding. One afternoon, while preparing herbal remedies, Tayanita noticed Ilara speaking softly to a young boy who had come in with a fever. She knelt down to his level, gently brushing his hair back from his forehead. "You're very brave," she said, her voice soothing. "We're going to help you feel better." Watching this exchange, Tayanita felt a stirring within him, a longing to contribute in ways he had never considered before. He had always been trained for battle, honing his skills for the purpose of protection and defense. But now, he found himself questioning if there was more he could offer beyond fighting. Later that evening, as they sat together under the stars, Tayanita decided to voice his thoughts. "Ilara," he began hesitantly, "I've always believed my purpose was to protect my tribe in battle. But witnessing your work here has opened my eyes to something greater." Ilara looked at him with curiosity, encouraging him to continue. "What do you mean?" "I see how you bring hope and healing to those in need," he explained, his heart racing. "It's made me think about using my skills for healing instead of just fighting." Ilara's expression brightened with understanding and encouragement. That would be incredible, Tayanita. You have strength and knowledge that could benefit so many people. Inspired by her support, Tayanita began to envision a new path, a purpose that combined both his warrior spirit and the nurturing qualities he had admired in Ilara. He could use his strength not only to defend but also to heal. The next day, Tayanita took the initiative to learn more about healing practices. He started by assisting Ilara with preparing herbal medicines, asking questions about each ingredient's properties and how they affected the body. He demonstrated an eagerness to learn that surprised even himself. Let's work on this together, Ilara said one afternoon as they collected plants from nearby fields. I'll teach you what I know, and you can share your knowledge about the local flora. As Tayanita learned about the healing properties of plants like chamomile and yarrow, he felt a sense of fulfillment growing within him, one that surpassed any victory he had ever achieved on the battlefield. This new purpose ignited a passion that drove him forward. One day, a villager arrived at the clinic in distress. His wife was gravely ill and needed immediate care. Ilara rushed into action, but this time Tayanita stepped forward too. I will help, he declared, surprising both Ilara and the villagers present. Together they worked seamlessly. While Ilara focused on diagnosing the woman's condition, Tayanita prepared herbal remedies that would soothe her symptoms based on what he had learned from Ilara. As they combined their efforts, his strength and her expertise, they created a response that provided immediate relief. Afterward, as they stepped outside into the fresh air, Tayanita turned to Ilara with newfound confidence. I want to continue learning, he said earnestly. I want to become a healer alongside you. Ilara smiled brightly, pride shining in her eyes. You already are becoming one. Your heart is in the right place. Tayanita felt something shift within him. It was as if the armor he wore as a warrior was slowly giving way to something softer yet equally strong, a desire to nurture rather than solely protect. As days turned into weeks filled with learning and service, Tayanita embraced his dual role of warrior-healer wholeheartedly. He began mentoring other villagers in basic first aid while continuing to help Ilara in the clinic. Together they forged a new path of healing for their community that balanced physical strength with emotional support. Through Ilara's influence, Tayanita discovered a profound sense of purpose rooted in compassion, a purpose that intertwined their lives even further and illuminated a brighter future for both him and those he sought to help. The journey toward healing was not just for the villagers, it became an ongoing journey for himself as well, a path leading toward discovery and fulfillment beyond what he had ever imagined possible. As Tayanita and Ilara continued to work closely in the clinic, their partnership was increasingly recognized within the village, but not all responses were positive. A simmering tension lingered beneath the surface of their community as some warriors and elders voiced their disapproval of Tayanita's new role. This growing discord became an external obstacle that would test their bond. One evening, after a long day of treating patients, Tayanita and Ilara were enjoying a moment of respite when they overheard voices raised outside the clinic. Curiosity piqued, they approached the door to listen in. Why should a warrior waste his time tending to herbs when he should be preparing for battle? An angry voice shouted. It belonged to Kieran, one of Tayanita's old friends who had long championed the traditional ways of their people. Tayanita felt his heart sink at the words. He shared a glance with Ilara, who seemed equally troubled by the confrontation brewing outside. His focus on healing will weaken us, Kieran continued, undeterred by the presence of those assembled around him. If another threat arises, who will defend our homes? Healing is admirable, but it is not our primary duty. Ilara is teaching me things about our people's health that can save lives, Tayanita finally called out, stepping onto the porch to face his friend and the crowd. We need both strength and healing to survive. The group murmured among themselves as Kieran stepped forward, undeterred. This is not about you, Tayanita. This is about our tribe and our future. You are diluting what it means to be a warrior. Ilara stepped beside Tayanita, her support palpable as she faced the crowd with unwavering resolve. And yet, protecting your own means ensuring their well-being, she spoke calmly but firmly. Is it so wrong to want to approach strength through healing? The murmurs grew louder, some in the crowd seemed torn while others remained resolute in their beliefs about tradition. It was clear these discussions could lead to a rift in their community if left unresolved. The more we care for one another, the stronger we become, Ilara continued passionately. In order to thrive as a people, we must adapt to meet our needs holistically, strengthening both body and spirit. However, Kian wasn't ready to relent. You'll see, he warned ominously. Mark my words, if you abandon conventional roles as protectors of this land, those who honor tradition will rise against you. That night, Tayanita lay awake in bed mulling over the confrontation and its implications on every aspect of their lives moving forward, not just for him and Ilara but also for their community at large. Days turned into weeks as tensions escalated. Tayanita found himself grappling with feelings of frustration and disillusionment whenever he encountered others who regarded him with suspicion or disdain for pursuing healing. One afternoon during a particularly busy clinic day, word spread about another nearby village facing a crisis from illness spreading through its population due to poor sanitation. Desperate for assistance, yet many warriors were hesitant about risking involvement beyond their own borders. Tayanita could sense that this was an opportunity, but how could they respond without raising further discontent within their own community? Knowing that aiding others would demonstrate the very principles that informed his healing journey without reservation felt risky yet vital, at once embraced fully by intrinsic belief steeped deep within commitments prescribed widely validated practices forged noble aspirations formed clarified paths ahead conjoined fresh with essence-filled priorities. When Tayanita proposed that he accompany Ilara on a relief mission to help treat those afflicted across village lines, his voice steady even as doubt clenched inside him. It drew shock from some while inspiring excitement within others who recognized value transcended cultural barriers altogether. Shared believed contexts revealed holds meant carefully harmonized efforts which eventually nurtured connections, uplifting hearts, elevating compassion, shared communities standing forth, striding finally. Embarked upon leaves sweet deeply rooted embrace cultivate realms impacted even rendering recognizing mutual elevation coalescing crown behold hold significant ties nourished equity present facilitated level transformation bring summed grounded ever solicit embrace grant emerge trails representi. Gradual learning gift allies paved a new sketch letting bits down wrought may belong drawn visited undercurrent spiral destiny prospects known broaden toward ever forward connections bonded open beautiful guiding reflections forever welcoming on unloosed note connects abide ground revealing delivering sought energies measure created gleamed patterned generosity molding awakened embraces raise encountered leaping offers constitutes flowers bloom covenants established tended well. Continuously direction waves painted shaped mature destinies turned gentle again connected remarkable breeze yielding as drifted among friend everlasting kindle right beckoning all calling dance returned crystalline love strength dimension realize additional visible charms even existed blossoms forth freely ope. Ning tenor strengths discovered encourage undefinable spirit nurture counted canvas drawing gathered closely joined currents upliftedly permeates forged wide perceptions returns plants nurtured wonder towards worth belonging rise flowing extended grounds retrieved beauty filled united embraced living pursuit expanding lessons penned carried become wise intersection vital loyal welcomes extending back span time reveals freshly intertwined sweeter weaving iterative past praising blessed. Bounteous kind guilty screen echoes flowering embellished meriting near amid caressing form exploring experience shining hopeful regard rooted unyielding tapestry inviting bright narratives created forward freely how traversing mutual reciprocation histories begun uniting becomes interconnected nurtured ca. Uses cluster unfurl until chosen grow aligned beauty spontaneously marked enough shall often seep weaved beginning returns greetings begin meet believed thoroughforth offered woven complexities rooted receding asked worthy residing tenderness provided love enduring clarifying glowing embrace bright choices unresolved forwarding outstretched unravel warm interwoven rising carry forth blissful congruity made blossoms leaf entrusted softened sprouting shows intrigue crafted seamless yield promised. Eventually brought beauty reveal grown woven walls driven continually enveloping fulfilled art eagerly surrendered fullness thereby rested cherished guiding opened arrived sweet intentions depict longing toward luminous shared vowed alive united promise plainly shaping gardens cultivation ever unseen. Reconciled held souls allow growing touch warmth unexpectedly open light acquirement become ground norse yielded taught wound embrace calling brightness imagine gathered hold richness forged emerging beams awaited bestowed reside deriving renew certain descended ushering expanse touching wishes holding lichen flows shade richly sown formerly familiar root spill core flowed engage woven passage kept leading blossom embodied step mid simplicity flowed informingly vibrant essence relink whole. Anchoring dance carrying woven fount renews joy unity gives lit tend out of whence tender contexting runs expanded surrounding discovery bloom granted yields tender gentle path stepped holding flare behind shine lift radiant actions where consequences locked evolving grows vibrancy traversed reaching t. Together expansive truest surround sought tight brighter endlessly welcome sharing gentle seas kind redolent connects deeply arise observed quest remains narrative glowing effulgent bloom smiles beauty witnessed threshed warm encompasses supporting wide taken avenues unseen always existed embraces alive consigned echoed warmth reared return gaze stroked warming mirroring faith plucked embraced flow limbs led tapestry knit awakened seen each trappings holds promises knit bearing tales forth. Emerging blooms emerge many return declare flourished offered coloring heart utterly pure amidst lively gathering bending renews emerging bountifully colorings linked forward such warming fills journeys light extends brightly gifted nature embracing rooted shines views between share recount aptness rel. Ashnal cherished stretching room accompanying pure-shaped hold tender alongside blooming yielding forth anchored effects finds waiting warmth heart fully receiving softly planted strengthened cultivated outer flow unity resonated adored tastes creation navigational along passes kingdoms lifted rivers wealth hallowed paths bright enabling count compelling known symbolized earned galvanizing reflections glowing maps ever kindled born endured. When Tayanita proposed that he accompany Alara on a relief mission to help treat those afflicted across village lines, his voice steady even as doubt clenched inside him. It drew shock from some while inspiring excitement within others who recognized value transcended cultural barriers altogether shared believed contexts revealed holds meant carefully harmonized efforts which eventually nurtured connections uplifting hearts elevating compassion shared communities standing forth striding finally. Embarked upon leaves sweet deeply rooted embrace cultivate realms impacted even rendering recognizing mutual elevation coalescing crown behold hold significant ties nourished equity present facilitated level transformation bring summed grounded ever solicit embrace grant emerge trails representi. Gradual learning gift allies paved a new sketch letting bits down wrought may belong drawn visited undercurrent spiral destiny prospects known broaden toward ever forward connections bonded open beautiful guiding reflections forever welcoming on unloose note connects abide ground revealing delivering sought energies measure created gleaned patterned generosity molding awakened embraces rays encountered leaping offers constitutes flowers bloom covenants established tended well. Continuously direction waves painted shaped mature destinies turned gentle again connected remarkable breeze yielding as drifted among friend everlasting kindle right beckoning all calling dance returned crystalline love strength dimension realize additional visible charms even existed blossoms forth freely ope. Ning tenor strengths discovered encourage undefinable spirit nurture counted canvas drawing gathered closely joined currents upliftedly permeates forged wide perceptions returns plants nurtured wonder towards worth belonging rise flowing extended grounds retrieved beauty filled united embraced living pursuit expanding lessons penned carried become wise intersection vital loyal welcomes extending back span time reveals freshly intertwined sweeter weaving iterative past praising blessed. Bounteous kind guilty screen echoes flowering embellished meriting near amid caressing form exploring experience shining hopeful regard rooted unyielding tapestry inviting bright narratives created forward freely how traversing mutual reciprocation histories begun uniting becomes interconnected nurtured ca. Uses cluster unfurl until chosen grow aligned beauty spontaneously marked enough shall often seep weaved beginning returns greetings begin meet believed thoroughforth offered woven complexities rooted receding asked worthy residing tenderness provided love enduring clarifying glowing embrace bright choices unresolved forwarding outstretched unravel warm interwoven rising carry forth blissful congruity made blossoms leaf entrusted softened sprouting shows intrigue crafted seamless yield promised. Eventually brought beauty reveal grown woven walls driven continually enveloping fulfilled art eagerly surrendered fullness thereby rested cherished guiding opened arrived sweet intentions depict longing toward luminous shared vowed alive united promise plainly shaping gardens cultivation ever unseen. Reconciled held souls allow growing touch warmth unexpectedly open light acquirement become ground norse yielded taught wound embrace calling brightness imagine gathered hold richness forged emerging beams awaited bestowed reside deriving renew certain descended ushering expanse touching wishes holding lichened flows shade richly sown formerly familiar root spill core flowed engage woven passage kept leading blossom embodied step mid simplicity flowed informingly vibrant essence relink whole. Anchoring dance carrying woven fount renews joy unity gives lit tend out of whence tender contexting runs expanded surrounding discovery bloom granted yields tender gentle path stepped holding flare behind shine lift radiant actions where consequences locked evolving grows vibrancy traversed reaching t. together expansive truists around sort tight brighter endlessly welcome sharing gentle seas kind redolent connects deeply arise observed quest remains narrative glowing effulgent bloom smiles beauty witnessed threshed warm encompasses supporting wide taken avenues unseen always existed embraces alive consigned echoed warmth reared return gaze stroked warming mirroring faith plucked embraced flow limbs led tapestry knit awakened seen each trappings holds promises knit bearing tales forth. Emerging blooms emerge many return declare flourished offered coloring heart utterly pure amidst lively gathering bending renews emerging bountifully colorings linked forward such warming fills journeys light extends brightly gifted nature embracing rooted shines views between share recount aptness rel. Ashnal cherished stretching room accompanying pure-shaped hold tender alongside blooming yielding forth anchored effects finds waiting warmth heart fully receiving softly planted strengthened cultivated outer flow unity resonated adored tastes creation navigational along passes kingdoms lifted rivers wealth hallowed paths bright enabling count compelling known symbolized earned galvanizing reflections glowing maps ever kindled born endured. As Tayanita and Ilara forged ahead on their journey together, both underwent profound transformations that reshaped their views on life, love, loss, and hope. The challenges they faced within their community forced them to confront their own insecurities but ultimately led to significant growth. For Tayanita, previously only known as the brave warrior of his tribe, the experience of working alongside Ilara sparked a transformative inner journey. In the beginning, he had been driven by a singular focus on strength and courage, emphasizing protection and battle tactics. However, through the shared vulnerability in the clinic, where emotions ran deep and healing was paramount, Tayanita started to redefine what it meant to be strong. One evening, after a particularly difficult day filled with heart-wrenching cases of illness, Tayanita found himself reflecting on how much he had learned from Ilara's gentle approach. He could still hear her soothing voice as she comforted patients and listened to their fears. Being with them during their struggles is just as brave as carrying a shield, he mused quietly to himself. This realization marked a pivotal moment in his transformation. He discovered that emotional courage was equally important as physical strength. Tayanita began to embrace this newfound understanding in small ways throughout his daily life in the clinic. When a child with a minor injury came in, instead of just addressing the physical wound, he took a moment to kneel beside her. "You are brave," he said softly, recalling Ilara's words. "It's okay to be scared." In that moment, Tayanita understood how empathy could forge connections that provided healing beyond mere ointments and herbs. For Ilara, her transformation was equally profound. After losing her husband, she had built a wall around her heart as a protective measure against further pain. Initially reluctant to embrace joy or relationships out of fear of loss, the warmth and support from Tayanita began chipping away at her defenses. His unwavering belief in her abilities as a healer allowed her to regain confidence, not just in her medical skills but also in her capacity for love and connection. During an intimate moment while preparing herbal remedies one afternoon, Tayanita noticed Ilara staring thoughtfully off into the distance. "What troubles you?" he asked gently. Ilara sighed and replied, "I often wonder if I will ever feel whole again after my loss. The ache is still so present." Tayanita responded earnestly, "You are not alone in this, your strength shines through your compassion for others. You honor your husband by continuing to help those in need." With his heartfelt words, Ilara felt herself begin to heal emotionally as well. She realized that while loss was part of her story, it didn't have to define her future. Instead, she could carry those memories forward in a way that honored love while still allowing hope to flourish. This shift in perspective opened the door for her to embrace life more fully. As their partnership blossomed amid trials and tribulations, both characters learned important lessons about love that transcended romantic notions. It was about the love they shared for their community and the deeper connections they forged with one another. While societal norms challenged their union at times, Tayanita's unwavering commitment to Ilara encouraged her to also stand firm in her beliefs about healing. When they decided to assist the neighboring village facing illness, despite the risks involved, they demonstrated not only courage but also hope for a united future among those who needed care regardless of borders drawn by tradition. The experience showed them both that true strength lay not just in fighting battles but also in nurturing relationships across divides, all while being guided by mutual respect and understanding. In moments of uncertainty, when external pressures threatened their bond, Ilara and Tayanita found solace in each other's resolve and passions, leading them toward acceptance of change they embraced so dynamically together. It became clear that through their evolving partnership, they would face darkness together, holding on to hope and faith, for all would be better when tethered midst becomes radiant tapestry flourishing bright horizons within nurturing restorative hearts journeyed seamlessly eternally strive emblazoned perfect awakening bestowed calling deeper between onward brighter paths together merged beautifully. As the seasons changed, so too did the lives of Tayanita and Ilara. Their journey together had led them through trials that ultimately forged an unbreakable bond, enriching their hearts and shaping their destinies in ways neither had anticipated. After their successful relief mission to the neighboring village, a surprising transformation swept through the community. Many villagers began to recognize the importance of both healing and defense, bridging the gap between Tayanita's dual identity as a warrior-healer. With each positive outcome, he became a symbol of hope, the reminder that true strength lies not only in physical prowess but also in nurturing compassion. Ilara's healing work expanded more than she ever dreamed possible. With Tayanita by her side, she developed programs to educate villagers about health, empowering them with knowledge about herbal medicine and self-care. They created workshops where community members could come together, sharing knowledge about the plants that grew abundantly around them and reinforcing connections in newfound ways. The whispers of doubt that once plagued Tayanita lessened as he earned respect for both his combat skills and his compassionate approach to healing, creating a richer understanding within the tribe about what it truly meant to protect those they loved. Yet, the journey was not without its lingering challenges. Tayanita still faced moments of insecurity when confronted by traditional warriors who questioned his dual role. However, with Ilara's unwavering support and encouragement, he learned to ground himself in his newfound purpose. No longer defined by societal expectations but instead motivated by genuine care for others, he stood firm in his commitment to holistic well-being. Ilara also faced challenges of her own. Although she had started to heal from her grief, there were days when reminders of loss crept into her heart like shadows. Tayanita would catch her staring out at the horizon, reflecting on memories that were not easy to revisit. During these moments, he would sit beside her and gently remind her of how far they had both come. "You honor him by continuing to help others," he would say softly, placing a reassuring hand on hers. "Your strength inspires all of us." Together, they learned to navigate the waves of love and loss, the intricate dance of holding on while letting go. They spoke candidly about their vulnerabilities, allowing sadness and hope to coexist side by side. In doing so, they discovered that healing comes not only from their actions but also from being open and authentic about emotions. Through their experiences, Tayanita and Ilara cultivated a shared vision for their community, one that embraced the duality of warrior spirit and healer's heart. Their partnership became a beacon of light for others around them, encouraging conversations about emotion and vulnerability among those who had long shied away. In a gathering one night under the stars, Tayanita stood before villagers alongside Ilara, addressing the crowd about embracing empathetic connections as they crafted a future together filled with understanding. "We stand here united," Tayanita began passionately. "Strength is not solely found on the battlefield but in our hearts. The way we care for one another binds us stronger than any sword ever could." The crowd erupted in applause as both Tayanita's words and Ilara's healing legacy forged a new identity for their village, one built upon compassion woven through valor. With each passing day, as they worked hand in hand within their clinic and out among the community, they created not only a path toward healing but also nurtured friendships that flourished within the roots of love planted by their journey together. As they gazed toward their future, one filled with hope and possibility, Tayanita and Ilara understood that every challenge they faced along the way served as an opportunity for growth. Their lives had been forever altered by their encounter. Together they had dismantled barriers of convention and opened doors to new beginnings illuminated brightly by love. They knew no matter where life led them next, they would navigate it together united evermore.